So before we get into the video, if you guys have not watched the last video, we put on new tires on my Civic Si with brand new Continental Extreme Contact O2s. Very good, very good tire, you guys. Like, these tires are extremely goated and very underrated. We also put 5mm spacers on all four of the assemblies and lowered my suspension a little bit to give a little bit of a more an aggressive stance. If you guys have not checked out that video, be sure to hit this link right above here or go down below and check out the latest video so you can keep up with the content. So as I was saying before, we are going to take care of this clear coat damage on my fender. Now, when I got the car, the clear coat wasn't as bad as you see right now. It was definitely there, but it wasn't as noticeable. I definitely took a lot of time, procrastinated a lot on like what to do with that fender exactly. I thought about reaching out to paint companies, mobile paint resources, and DIY. So out of all those three choices, your boy decided to do DIY. Now, you guys saw me paint my fender on my Datsun, which is actually right over there. Pretty decent job. I definitely could do better, but we are going to get some help. We have a guest coming along later today that's going to help me with this whole sanding and prepping and painting process, so that way this fender will look immaculate with the left front fender. Just because, if you guys didn't know, when I installed my max speeding rod coilovers, my car was unfortunately involved in a hit and run. So pretty much the bumper, the headlight, and the fender was completely destroyed. I got a brand new fender on this side and it's in immaculate condition, so I definitely wanted to be matching with the passenger side, because obviously, as you can see, it's a pretty big eyesore. What we're pretty much going to be doing is we have 3 different stages of sanding. We're going to be doing with the 300, 400, and I believe 600 sanding. We're going to mask off all the parts I don't want sand on. The goal is to sand the fender onto the vehicle so it's nice and stable, and then remove the fender once it's ready to be painted into a mobile paint booth I got that you guys will see later. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and start masking off the car, and afterwards, when that's all done, we're gonna go ahead and start sanding. We have gloves here and sandpaper and sanding blocks, so we'll go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so we got the wheel masked off with a trash bag and some tape, so none of the particles will fall on the brake caliper or the wheel tire itself. So we're going to start with the first 300 to 320 grit and move our way down entirely over the fender, so that way we don't lose any of the body lines, and make sure it is completely smooth with the first layer, and then we'll move on to the second sanding. But for now, we'll start sanding at the moment. Another thing too, my friend is also using his way on hopefully he pulls up in his car, because you guys definitely have to change his in a couple of minutes, but alright guys, my homie Alex just pulled up. He's helping me sand and prep everything to get this fender very nice and sorted. Little do you know, Alex actually works at a paint shop and body shop, so he's going to give me some good pointers out if anything I miss. He is definitely going to take care of it. As you guys can see, this is Alex's car. Let me actually get a better view for you guys. Alright guys, this is Alex's FD2 wide body kit. There's definitely a little essentials that's on this body kit, from like stuff that you might notice, such as like the Mugen RR bumper, the spoon mirrors, and of course the wide body kit. I known Alex for a couple years now, actually ever since I met him in college. I saw this car when it was a FA5 before. If you guys don't know what that means, FA5 in the USA is typically my body name that has the front end conversion and the rear conversion as well. But in Japan and Australia, they get the FD2 conversion, or FD2 body style in this case. So obviously, big difference, different headlights front end. And let me actually get the rear for you. And of course, the rear conversion. So definitely a big change. Definitely would like to do an FD2 conversion one day, but I still love the FA5 body. But I have Alex over here trying to convince me to swap over the FD2. But It'll happen eventually. I like the FA5 body slap for now, so he's gonna have to wait. What was that?
FDs are better.
You have anything to say for the vlog?
Swap your Civic.
For what?
Go to Japan and get body kits.
I want to tell all the viewers out there, like, what you're trying to look for and what you're trying to do for your Fender?
For my Fender or for your Fender?
Or for my Fender, actually.
Your Fender, it's... So, since we're not really going to do that much body work, I'm going to try to make all the dents. So this used to be a dent, but using the material it has, it's pretty flat. So, make sure you block out your stuff. You'll be fine.
Right. If you guys want to check out Alex's page, I'll leave his Instagram right here on the screen. Definitely give him a follow. Like, he deserves all the love for his build. Alright guys, so we finished the 320 sanding grit. So far we got it smoothed out to where we like it. The main concern that Alex pointed out was just that clear coat damage that was definitely the worst spot. So we got that smoothed out completely, got all the dent spots and the shiny spots. Is that right, Alex? Nice. Yeah, so we're now going to move to the 400 grit and afterwards the 600 grit, but in those two grit stages we're actually going to be wet sanding it. I actually don't know what it means to wet sand for the 400 and 600. Do you want to explain to these guys?
Sand with water.
Sand with water?
Sand
Is there...
water, the sandpaper is, what is it, water resistant, I guess, in a way. So it won't like fall apart like the dry sanding paper, because all that grit comes off when you sand. So when you wet sand, you use the water as a lubrication, creates a finer finish, rather than sanding with just a dry 320.
Okay, nice.
So it is, where I work, we do work with like a 400 and 600 dry, but it's not as nice of a finish compared to wet sanding. So wet sanding is always a better finish.
Oh, okay, nice. All right, sick. I'm excited. We're going to be taking apart the fender now, you guys, so I believe there's around, well, I would say 8 bolts now, like 8 bolts to take off the fender.
I haven't counted, but probably.
Okay,
that makes sense.
We're just going to say 8 bolts, a couple of clips, especially the under tray as well, so I'm really hoping we don't have to jack up the car, but if we have to jack up the car, then we're going to have to do that, but we're going to go ahead and get started and remove the fender.
Tastes like, huh?
I know. It's literally all the way out there, but it just doesn't want to come out. I'll just start popping off the other ones. Damn, I scuffed my bumper here.
Damn, Kev.
I know. I fucking hate getting scratches on my this bumper too, especially because it's brand new. But it's okay. There's a lip coming. It'll cover it up.
Well, you heard that, YouTube? There's a lip coming.
No, there's clips.
You got this clips right here? Just pull this way. Slow. Don't break it. But with some force too. Yeah? 1, 2. Aha! Alright, that's probably guaranteed. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now what?
I'm not a Civic expert. Fuck!
Oh, there you go.
So much gravel. Where's the...
Trim it up.
I already did.
Nice.
Don't fall. I'm giving it to you.
Oh. Because all the metal that's connected to it. Hey, moment of truth. Will she come out all the way?
I'm pretty sure there's only one down there.
Oh, it's the one that's on the side skirt. Yeah. Sick.
And this is the part where he drops it.
Fender is off. Nice.
How the hell do you get gravel back here?
Sticky tires.
It has nothing to do with sticky tires. You have a whole fender liner. I have sticky tires. Actually, I need to get inside before you think it's sticky. Track tire.
But the new one you're talking about, right?
Well, they're the ones I have. I don't know. It's the thing to turn it on.
It's hard to open.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, oh my god, I knew you were gonna do that. Alright, so putting a few stuff back inside the car just because it is too late. Definitely have no daytime at all whatsoever. So I ended up finding out one of my SD cards is full, so I have to get a new one. I'm using a backup one, but it does not have that much storage, so I'm gonna get another one for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to get a brand new SD card so that way you guys can see the full process of me painting my Fender. But we're going to call it here for tonight. We'll just put everything away, clean up everything, and then afterwards we'll see you guys tomorrow.
It's off. Bolt, bolt, bolt. Bolt, bolt, bolt. Bolt, 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 bolt. Kevin.
What the heck?
Alright, we're gonna set this thing on its nuts now. Kevin's gonna be a Stanty boy. No more track time, Stanty boy.
Hey guys, welcome back. So it is currently the next day, so pretty much what happened last night, we got my Civic torn apart, as you guys see, it's right over there, with missing headlight, a bumper, and of course the fender, but that's because we are going to be finally painting the fender today. So nothing to Alex left yesterday, but he will come again later today to help me point out some things that I need to work on when painting the fender. But for now, we are going to go ahead and get the fender, wash it off with a Scotch-Brite pad, I believe, just to make sure we get all of the edges all buffed out, just so the paint can adhere to it properly. Other than that, we're going to go ahead, and after we wash it off, we're going to rub it down with some rubbing alcohol to make sure it is completely dry, let it sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and start setting up the paint booth. So other than that, let's go ahead and start washing down the fender. Alright guys, so after a trip from the AutoZone, we finally got the primer paint and also some shop towels just so we can wipe everything down, so make it nice and clean. All we gotta do now is just wipe it down with alcohol, let it sit for a little bit so it completely dries, making sure no dust is left on there. Before we start painting, we definitely have to mask up this little bracket for the headlight and the fender, just because I don't want to get paint on the plastic and it's not gonna adhere properly when the bumper is put on right in this line right here. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and wipe it down and then we can set up the paint booth. Alright guys, paint booth is all set up now, so as you guys can see, it's a pretty decent size. I got this off of Amazon for 50 bucks. It definitely was quite the challenge to set this thing up, but it came with everything I needed. Obviously the booth, a ventilated cover, and of course a back vent as well, just in case. Also came with I would say needles that go into the ground just so it can lock in place so it doesn't move anywhere. So far, I've been watching this thing even when there's just a little bit of wind. There's no wind play at all whatsoever that's making this thing budge, so pretty confident the paint's gonna go well. However, on this stance here, it's definitely a little bit large for this booth, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this piece of plywood down with some jack stands, and hopefully I'll put on the fender and I have enough room to go around it so when I spray it, it's a nice even layer. So let's see how it looks. Alright guys, so we made it work, got the plywood down with those two jacks on, pretty stable how I like it. So plan of attack is we're going to start with the primer coat first. So what we're going to be doing is getting the edges first, because I heard that it's like the most easiest to get, and not only that too, it doesn't take really too much work to get the edges painted off correctly. So pretty much going to go around the trim right here. We might turn this whole plywood around just because it's a little bit of a tight fit back there, and I don't want to put my Fender in risk of like getting paint messed up, but let's see how it goes. But first, let's start with the primer coat, and we'll start with the edges. Okay, so we're not going to start with the primer coat first. Like I said before, we're just going to start with the edges. Afterwards, we're making all the edges cleared up with primer. We're going to go on to the main fender. So don't forget, safety first. Let's get started. Alright guys, so we got the edges primed up with primer, so now we're going to wait 10 minutes to actually start painting the whole fender itself. I'm pretty confident to how I like it so far. I'm definitely really nervous when we get to the actual paint itself, because that's what I don't want to mess up. Right now we're just kind of proofing this and letting it settle in, so that way like there's no dust or contaminants get inside. But after that 10 minutes, we'll go ahead and get the final layer of primer started, and then we'll move on to the actual paint. Alright guys, 10 minutes are up. We are now going to put the first layer of coat on the actual fender itself. Edges are completely fine, so we're not going to be worried about that. Alex just pulled up, obviously. He's right over there. He'll give me some pointers, so hopefully everything goes well. But we're going to go ahead and start laying down the first coat, and we're going to let this dry for 20 minutes, and then we'll move on to the actual paint. Alright guys, so we got the first layer of coat. Oh, I just pressed record.
Oh,
Awkward.
Okay guys.
Alright guys, so as you can see, we got the first layer on thanks to Alex. He did a magnificent job. So we're gonna wait 20 minutes till it completely dries, and then we're gonna move on to the actual paint itself. Oh damn, sun's in the eye. Alright guys, so we're moving to the last base coat. So we're just gonna make sure we cover all the patches that we missed there, make sure that everything is completely even and coated nicely. Afterwards, we're gonna let this sit for 20 minutes, and we're gonna go for a Boba run in Alex's FP2. So we're gonna go ahead and have some fun. But in time being, let's go ahead and put on this last layer, and then we can get ready for the clear coat next. Alright guys, final coat is prepped on, so we're letting it dry right now. So other than that, we're gonna go on a Boba run with Alex's FD2, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Oh, yes.
Can you record the trip?
Yeah. Just rev out them a little bit, they might get scared.
No. You might get HOA over you. They know who you are. Who you're associated with. Here's this little... Take a picture?
Oh no, I'm recording so. Just casually taking photos of an FD2, no biggie, while we're waiting for Boba. Alex working his magic. Alright guys, Boba run completed. That's a good time too because my battery's about to run out too, so we're gonna head back home and swap batteries and then hopefully start the next coat.
You flicked it over.
Hey, which one's better? Alex's short shifter or my short shifter? Yeah, but you don't got the cherry on top.
For sale, if someone wants to buy it, let's switch to the cutie. Gentlemen's club.
Alright guys, we are back from the Boba spot. So now we let this completely dry. Alex actually went back and fixed a couple of spots. We had a little bit of dust that was on the fender, so he just flicked it off really quick but exposed some primer spots. So he just went ahead and resprayed really quick just to make sure we got a nice even layer. But now we're going to put the first layer of clear coat. He's just shaking it up right now so we can get it nicely incorporated. But for now, we're going to go with a thin layer first and then move on to the second layer, but we're going to let it dry. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so we put the first layer on. I was definitely nervous and was doing a good job, so Alex had to step in. I'm sorry. But Alex killed it with the first layer. Usually this is the part I usually mess up with on when I was painting the Dotson's fender with the clear coat. Definitely had a lot of run and orange peel afterwards, but Alex is doing a phenomenal job. But I'm still gonna give it a try. Like, I would like to get some experience in and try to learn it just for next time if I have to repaint again, I'll be ready for it. But again, so far it's looking really good and I'm super excited how it looks. Alright guys, so we are about to put on the final layer right now. Alex is just looking over the fender to see how it looks.
It's so blue.
Is it really?
Look at it.
Wow.
Look at that flea.
That's nice. There's definitely some dust spots in there, but
you weren't
it's
able
good
to see that with just black.
Dang, that looks awesome.
Dude.
Woo.
Dude, rattle can.
It's gonna look so nice. Alright, other than that, you guys, we're gonna put on the last final coat. Alex has to dip out right after this though, unfortunately, but he will see the results once it's done. But in the meantime, I have to let this sit and dry overnight, and then I can put everything back together. So I'm sorry, FA5, you're gonna have to wait, but we're gonna go ahead and put the final on. Alright you guys, so we are back. This is currently the next day, so we are finally going to put the fender back onto the car. So last night, me and Alex, we put the final coating of the clear coat. During when we were driving, or when we were drying the fender to see if there's any imperfections or anything, we definitely did notice a couple things that need to be addressed. Basically, we messed up. But before we get into that, I just want to point out that we are going to put everything back together the way it was. Obviously the car looks a little nasty right now, but not too bad. So, well, the plan for the game is today, got to put the fender back on, headlight, everything back to where it was. Surprisingly, when we were taking everything apart, Alex did say we were going to break some clips. We did not break a single clip during the whole dismantling, so that's definitely a plus one considering how the fender looks. But overall, while we were painting the last couple of days and prepping, it was definitely quite the experience. I definitely enjoyed it myself. I'm pretty okay with the results. But it's not perfect, but I am super glad I got to experience it, just because we were able to see what would it be like to DIY spray an entire fender with manufactured paint and very high standing clear coat. Another thing to you guys, big shout out to Alex for giving me a few pointers and helping me out with the whole painting process. I definitely could not have done this without him. Honestly, if I did this by myself without asking for any help, it probably wouldn't look as good as it is right now. But then again, thanks Alex, I really appreciate you coming down to help me out. I am very pleased with the results. Considering how the fender looks and how it came out, I'm still very pleased that you helped me out, Alex. Very much appreciate it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring out the fender. Alright guys, so here is the fender when it's brought out in the daylight. So far, I'm very pleased to how it looks. There's definitely a lot of defects and orange peel on the fender. That's totally normal. We do plan to buff this out later down the line, but for now, we're just gonna let it cure for I would at least say a week or two. Alex did recommend it to leave it how it is for 3 weeks. Most likely gonna follow that. I forgot what he said, but pretty much I'm gonna follow his instructions. Alex is the professional for this kind of stuff, so it definitely doesn't pick up on camera, you guys, but there is actually a lot of dust in here on this fender. Even with the paint booth that we had up earlier over here, it definitely caught some contaminants that was in the air. We tried our best to be clean as possible. Honestly, I'm not super worried about it, just because not only did we finish the whole clear coat damage that is no longer there no more, but there's sadly some clear coat spots that are failing too, so eventually the whole car is going to need a new respray. But that's going to be in the future, because I definitely want to get the car repainted, but for now I wanted to do this job. Now, like, considering how there is a small amount of dust and particles that are on the fender, I'm pretty pleased of how the fender came out. But there is one thing that does stand out that me and Alex pointed out last night. So it really is hard to tell, but pretty much around this area right over here, and this corner, you can see a little bit of gray sticking out, but it looks like we missed a couple spots when we were spraying the base coating on the fender. We were pretty sure that we got everywhere on the whole corners and all the panels and everything, but it looks like somehow we did miss a couple of spots. So unfortunately, it's not 100% perfect. This, like I said, this is a DIY job. It's definitely going to be there's definitely going to be some errors while you're doing something new. It's part of the experience. But the good news is we got the fender completely resprayed, and I am mostly very happy that there's no more of that ugly clear coat damage. So as a result, we got all the fenders and edges coated with base and primer and clear coat. So it's all going super well. All we got to do now is just mock it up back onto the car. I definitely wish I can make it cure for the full 24 hours, but it's pretty much getting close to the full 24 hours since last night. We finished around 4 or 5ish o'clock. Currently it's now 3 o'clock right now, so by the time I get this on the vehicle, it's going to be completely cured for a full 24 hours. And another thing too, I'm gonna have to drive uptown just because, like, I do have school I need to go to, so unfortunately this can't wait. So for now, you guys, it's just me. We're gonna put this fender back on myself. I'm pretty familiar like what exactly to do. First things first, we gotta put the fender back on. Afterwards, we're gonna go underneath the hood, making sure all the plastic bits go back on, especially the under tray, and of course the front bumper and headlight. Everything is just in the back seat except for my bumper. My bumper is in my house, but other than that, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so my fender is mocked up to where the bolts were located that is on my car currently. So funny enough, so there's supposed to be at least 3 to 4 bolts on the top half here. So when we were actually removing these top bolts on here, there's supposed to be at least 3 to 4. We ended up finding out there's only 1 bolt holding on the very top. So it's very unfortunate because I believe I know like the issue with this is because ever since I got the car, I've been hearing some rattling noises or like some high-pitched metal contact rubbing. it might be this. So unfortunately, I don't have all the bolts to secure my fender piece such that goes down the line right here. I only have 1 and 2. I need, I believe, 2 more right here. But in this case, I'm going to see if I can try to find some spare ones. But for now, the fender is mocked up. So far, I'm really getting excited. Just because it looks so good to not see that clear coat damage. But the car's not even mocked up properly yet. I didn't even tighten everything down. We're just mock testing, test fitting it, just to make sure nothing else is rubbing, or if there's anything that we need to pull off, we can take care of it now. Alright guys, just a little update of how it's looking. So far, I got most of the fender installed. I definitely took a little bit longer on the back door area right here, or the door and the fender combining together, because there's actually a little bit of an interior panel trim that's supposed to go inside the fender, kind of like a fender liner. But we got it all figured out. I got everything tightened down to where they're supposed to go. As you guys may have seen, that I've been taking a look at the body lines just to make sure everything is nice and even. As you can see, we just closed the hood. The body line is actually, I honestly think it's 100% perfect to where it's supposed to be at. There is a little bit of a gap distance right here, but that's totally fine because that's how it's supposed to look on the other side as well. So I'm pretty stoked about that. All we gotta do now is move on, I believe, to the headlight next. And then we can finish putting away all the other interior trims, and then finally the bumper itself. Okay guys, so before we mount on this bumper, I wanted to address something really quick. So while we're taking off the bumper, Alex did point out this random piece of duct tape that's on my intake box. So we went to go check that out. So unfortunately, we actually have a hole in the intake. So I'm not too sure what caused this. It might have a slight idea what it might be. When I got into that hit and run accident, when the fender was crushed in, so was the bumper, it may have cracked the airbox. That's just my theory. Or the car may have been like that ever since I bought it. So since we do have a cracking intake box or a hole, there's going to be an intake coming soon. Another thing too, guys, before I mounted the bumper, I actually put some tape on the edges on the headlight, especially the fender tape, just because I don't want to get a nasty scratch. So let's go ahead and mop up this bumper. Alright guys, car is finally put back together. I went ahead and put everything back together. No clips or screws missing actually. That's the first that actually ever happened, so another +1. But for now you guys, just admire the brand new fender. No more of that ugly clear coat spot. Matches with the other side as well. So definitely got a new fresh front end with no clear coat damage, minus the hood. But that's for another time. But for now, you guys, it's a beautiful day. We got a nice brand new freshly painted fender, a nice sunset in the distance. Definitely